FM News Talk 97.1.
On-demand audio.
Dan Holler is the communications director for Heritage Action for America, and we wanted to bring him onto the program because there's always, and it doesn't help when we have certain members of Congress who are purposefully conflating what the vote yesterday was to proceed to debate what's going to be happening on, I believe, Friday or Saturday. I know they talked about fast-tracking it. Dan, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, sure. Thanks a lot for having me.
So explain to us this process, because we know that there was the cloture vote. The motion to proceed to debate was yesterday. Now, the motion to end debate, are they going to, it could be either Friday or Saturday. There was discussion that they were going to possibly fast track this and hold the vote on Friday. What can you kind of break it down? Because mostly, you know, people don't get into the weeds with this stuff, and this really is in the weeds in terms of procedure. Yeah,
it really is in the weeds. It's easy to confuse, and it's easy for members of Congress to confuse their constituents, and as you mentioned, sort of intentionally so. So here's what's going on. I think the vote's going to be on Friday. On Friday, they're going to vote on cloture, and this is just sort of a fancy inside Washington term to say that they're going to limit debate on the bill. This is not really on the substance of the bill. This is basically to lock in a process. And that's really important. You're not voting on the substance of the bill. You're voting on a process. And the process that comes out of this is that Harry Reid gets to control the floor. So the vote that you're going to see on Friday, you need 60 votes. So some Republicans are going to have to go along with this, is basically a vote to give Harry Reid full control of the Senate floor and undermine the rights of the minority, which is the Republican Party.
And that is the vote, essentially, that could give him to let him control the floor. That would really give him the ability to fund this with just a simple majority, 51 votes.
That's exactly right. So after that vote happens, assuming the Republicans cave and give him his votes, immediately after that, he's going to move to vote on his amendment. His amendment is already filed. We know what it is. It basically takes away the Obamacare defunding language that the House fought for, that the American people asked the House to put in. That's what he's going to do. As soon as Republicans give him sole control over the floor, that's what he's going to do. And then we know how this plays out. Then they'll vote to pass it, and they'll pass it, send it over to the House. It won't have the defunding language on it. And what you'll hear from a lot of your lawmakers, a lot of your senators is, hey, I voted in favor of cloture because I loved this bill. Well, if you loved the bill, you would have protected it from Harry Reid. I mean,
right.
That's the real distinction here.
And that's what we have a lot of members of the Senate, Republicans even, trying to, for instance, we had our senator in Missouri, Senator Roy Blunt, who was trying to say, well, Ted Cruz voted for cloture. Well, no, he voted, starting the debate is completely different than ending it and giving Senator Reid complete control.
That's exactly right. Yesterday's vote, it was a 100-0 vote. Nobody cared about that vote. That was purely a process step to get onto the bill. That had no policy implications. The policy implications come with tomorrow's vote. And it's interesting. You're starting to see more and more senators, even some of those who oppose the defunding strategy, start saying, you know what, maybe I don't want to give control to Harry Reid. And they're finding creative ways to explain it so they don't endorse the defunding strategy, because some of them have been hostile to it for some inexplicable reason.
Right.
But they're trying to figure out a way to get to know on cloture. So we just had Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania announce, you know what, Harry Reid's not going to let us have any amendments.
Yeah.
He's going to block us from offering amendments. This is the U.S. Senate. So he said, you know what, I'm not going to vote in favor of cloture because Harry Reid won't give me my amendment. It's pretty easy to get to know on this. And
right.
If there's a Republican voting yes, you have to ask yourselves, why are they voting yes? What are they getting out of this?
Exactly. And that's just it. You hit up on a very important point that's being overlooked, too. He's going to, they're talking about this hyper-parliamentary measure that Reid's going to use to block everybody else from being able to amend this. He's just going to propose his stripping of the provision, which would defund it, and then that's the package that goes.
That's exactly right. There is no chance to do anything else on it. So, I mean, some folks have said, well, you know what, maybe we can do medical device tax or something. And Harry Reid hates the medical device tax. But he's saying, nope, I'm not going to allow anybody to offer it. I want to keep this as clean as possible. You all can, go yell, shout, and scream and whatever, but I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
The only way you stop Harry Reid is by refusing to give him your votes. And that's what that's what senators need to do. Not empower Harry Reid. When you're empowering Harry Reid, you're doing something wrong.
Absolutely. Dan Holler, Communications Director with Heritage Action for America. We so appreciate your insight on this, Dan. You can follow Dan on Twitter at Dan Holler. Dan, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks a lot.
And take care.